Welcome to the Yukon and North 61. Here is something I've been playing with lately, and it's also a series of failed firearms that I've done some videos on. This is a Remington 600 in the least selling version, I think, that they tried to market, which was 6.5 Rem mag, 18.5-inch barrel. Overall, is 37 inches, 6.5 pound rifle. In the non-magnum calibers, it had a 8-ounce lighter barrel. So they were more like 6 pounds, sometimes lighter depending on the wood, sometimes 5 3/4 pounds. This version, 6.5 pounds. Under 36 inches long, like short. Everything was done to make this rifle as short and handy as possible, and it was way ahead of its time. It got criticized right out of the marketplace. They only made 3,000 of these, about 3,000 of these in 6.5 Rem mag. I think they made about 60,000 total. So this didn't sell at all, and yet it's a pocket 270. This gets about 100 feet per second more than a 6.5 Creedmoor in a 24-inch barrel in this little shortened abbreviated form. It's perfectly sized for a young person or my wife, for example. It had this bowling pin finish on this laminated stock. It's very stable stock, and they're all accurate. Every version that I've had is accurate. This is an MOA rifle. And 140 grain bullets reloaded to 2,800 feet per second is nothing to sneeze at. So that is an amazing mountain rifle. This particular model made in 1966. They were made from 64 to 68. Then they stopped making them because they got criticized out of the marketplace. What were they criticized for? Ventilated rib. People say, what's that for? Short barrel, especially in a heavy a fast caliber, lost some velocity. Plastic bottom metal, a magazine or a bolt release that you have to use a screwdriver to get to. All of those things were unusual, but everything was done to make this as light and handy and short as possible. This is under 36 inches. And this caliber itself gets 100 feet per second more than my Creedmoor in what basically looks like a kid's rifle. And the shortness is really handy to carry through woods, carry up to the mountaintops, right beside your backpack, and also for someone of smaller stature like my wife to use, having something short is really, really great. I really like these 6.5s. I think this was way ahead of its time as a mountain rifle. So, to try to undo and sell more, they took some of the criticisms and they came up with the 660. 660 has got exactly the same action. It's got a 20-inch barrel, a little heavier barrel. They did away with the rib. They kept basically all the other features, although they did add things like a grip cap and an end cap to make it look a little bit fancier. Weighs about the same. Extremely accurate. This one's in 350 Rem mag, and again, they didn't sell. They sold even less of these than the 600. And this 350 Rem mag doesn't lose quite as much velocity, not the 200 feet per second that you lose with that over a 24-inch barrel. You lose less because this has got a much lower expansion ratio. So this is really well sought after as a guide gun for big game up to moose. 6.5 will do for moose with 140 grain bullets too, but this is a little more capable, but not as capable as a mountain gun. I would say that one of the problems with the 6.5 is it's got enough expansion ratio that you actually can burn out your throat. So I burn out the throat of this rifle. This was my first 6.5 Rem mag, and this is in a 660. I took an unbelievable amount of caribou with this rifle, and when I rebarreled it with a slightly heavier 23-inch barrel. And this I picked up 150 to 200 feet per second, which I really like. I lost all the handiness. I lost the carbine. This is no longer a carbine. It's a short rifle. And I honestly don't use this rifle that much because it's a little bit heavier than my Forbes rifle, so I almost always take my Forbes rifles out now and leave this at home. But this killed, especially with the old factory barrel, an unbelievable amount of caribou with one shot each. It's a really good caliber. This guy, I like the 130 grain bullets at about 3150. Sounds like a 270, except those 136.5 bullets have a better ballistic coefficient than a 270 with a 130 grain bullet. It's more like a 140 grain 270 bullet. So it actually outdoes a 270 with a barrel like this 23 incher. It doesn't quite outdo it with that 18.5 inch barrel, but I don't know anything that's that short as that 6.5 Rem Mag 600 that's as capable as it is, even today. So they were ahead of their time. They have some issues, but they're really fun rifles to play with, especially in the Magnums. The last version, which sold right up to 1979, was the Mohawk 600, and it was an economy version, and they didn't make it in the Magnum anymore. I had one in 308, was my second firearm. Really accurate, really good firearm. I prefer these older versions. They're a little better finished. They have nicer stocks. That had a birch stock, that old Mohawk 600, but they're really fantastic user guns. And I bought mine in a hardware store in 1978 and used it all over Nunavut. Good gun. These are great guns, ahead of their time. Pick one up if you can, but they're really getting some serious collector's interest now, so you might find, especially in the Magnum versions, that they're getting pretty expensive. Thanks for watching.